Hey, thank you for taking the time to click on today's video. I want to begin our video with just a little short story. Recently, I talked to a good friend of mine who he and his wife had gone on vacation. And when they got to the little town that they were going to vacation in for a while, his wife developed some pains in her stomach. Long story short, they thought that it would pass. It never did. It intensified. And so they went to the ER that evening and they met with this doctor that said, it's just gas pains. And, see how you're feeling in the morning. Well, unfortunately, she wasn't feeling any better. She was feeling worse. And so they went back to the ER, but that doctor was now off shift, and now there was a new doctor. And that doctor seemed to be as sanguine as the first doctor. He's like, no, well, maybe it's a little constipation. And they went back to the hotel, and it just never got any better. And so now it's really to the point where it is so extremely painful that my friend is really super concerned about his spouse. He decides that's it. They're going to drive to a big city. And so he puts her in the car. He drives 2 hours, finds the nearest big hospital that he can find, and he walks in. This time he demands that his wife is checked out. He is terribly concerned about her. Well, it's good that he did what he did, because in this case, she had a massive emergency case of appendicitis. She could have had a serious, even potential death as a result of not being cared for properly. Now, why do I tell you the short story that I do? Because you see, in many respects, it's always good to get a second opinion. And this is true also when it comes to your investments. So oftentimes I meet with individuals who work with other financial advisors, and that's not anything that bothers me. Sometimes we have multiple professionals that might do the same type of work in our life. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, it is good to have a second opinion, because over the course of time of working with a professional, sometimes we develop maybe too much trust. We develop maybe too much of a reliance upon this person, and we never get to maybe double check or to see if there is a potential way of doing something better. So in many of these instances, what I find is even though that person has come to trust their financial advisor and they've worked with them for 15 to 20 years, that financial advisor has started to get a little bit lazy. That financial advisor has started to maybe not pay attention to the things that are going to be evolving and changing for that person. For instance, recently I met with a woman who she had lost her husband 7 years ago, but she had continued to work with his financial advisor. And as things had kind of matured and gone on, and she had developed more of a relationship with this advisor, she tended to feel as though he wasn't giving her the service that she deserved, and he wasn't really answering her questions. And so she had a second opinion. Well, it turns out that this woman was really in need of that second opinion, because what we realized is that now that she had turned 72, number one, she didn't need to be taking on the risk that she was within her portfolio. He was still maintaining a full-bore focus on aggressive growth. And at the age of 72, she didn't need that kind of excitement in her life. More importantly, though, was the fact that she was 72 and now she was having to take required minimum distributions. And what we discovered as we looked into the portfolio was that he was not producing the interest and the dividends that were necessary for her to be able to cover those RMDs. That meant that she was going to be basically exposing her principal to cannibalization for the sake of the government. And that was certainly something that she did not want to do. So I cannot emphasize enough that we must not become passive about our retirement portfolio. We need to have it checked. We need to have it verified. And if you're having a second opinion from a fiduciary like ourselves, listen, our responsibility is not to try to make you a client. Our responsibility is to help provide you advice that's in your best interest. And if I find good stuff, I have to tell that client about the good stuff. If I find potential red flags, they want me to bring that to their attention so that they can then develop a plan for a solution to fix those red flags. So never be afraid of getting a second opinion. It doesn't mean that you're being unloyal to the previous advisor or that you're disrespecting them in some way. Remember, this is your retirement. This is your money. It's money that you worked hard for. And so that second opinion can go a long way in helping you have the best retirement you've ever dreamed of. Thanks so much for watching. And if I could ask you, just before you click off, if you like our little videos, please give us a thumbs up. It's always very helpful. And if you're not subscribed and you like our little videos, I think there's probably a bell over here, maybe over here, I'm not really sure, but click the little bell, make certain you're subscribed, and then click the bell and you'll be reminded every time we have one of the videos. And if I can ask one more favor, feel free to share this with your friends. Maybe this is the little something that they need to push them over the hump to get them to have the second opinion that would be so very helpful to them. So thanks again for watching, and remember, it's up to you to make today a great day.